I wasn't supposed to be the guy people whispered about behind wine glasses and hors d'oeuvres plates. Not with the way I had built my life. Not with everything I had going for me. My name is Alex Harper. I'm 41. I live in Manhattan, in a penthouse that overlooks Central Park and probably costs more per month than most people's yearly income. My wife, Stephanie Keller, is the CEO of a tech company that's always making headlines. AI this, innovation that. She's the kind of woman Forbes calls a visionary. I used to Google her name sometimes, just to see what they were saying. And me? I'm not some trophy husband. I worked my ass off to get where I am. Project manager at one of the top architecture firms in New York. I've overseen builds that made the cover of Architectural Digest. I didn't marry rich. I married a woman who was ambitious as hell, like me. We earned this life. Before we start, how's your day going and where are you joining from? Our summer house in the Hamptons? That's not some gift. I closed that deal myself, negotiated the remodel, got every permit signed. I was damn proud of it. But Olivia always made it seem like I was just along for the ride. Stephanie's sister. Same last name, different world. No real job. But she had enough inherited money to make doing nothing look like an achievement. She drifted through life on champagne and her parents' trust fund. And yet somehow, she always had something to say. Especially about me. It started small. Little jabs at dinner. "Oh, must be nice to have a flexible schedule like Alex," she'd say, smirking, sipping some overpriced red. Or, "I guess not everyone needs to be the breadwinner these days." I let it slide at first. She was just being Olivia. She always had that smug energy like everyone was playing catch-up in a race only she knew about. Stephanie never called her out. Just smiled or rolled her eyes. I figured it wasn't worth getting into. But the thing is, Olivia never said anything outright cruel. Just those quiet digs. The kind that made you pause 2 hours later when you were brushing your teeth, wondering if you imagined it. I told myself she was just trying to stir the pot. I'd dealt with worse. I knew who I was. I was successful, respected, and I pulled my own weight. Still, I couldn't help but notice it. The way her eyes lingered a little too long on me when I spoke. The way she smiled, not friendly, but sharp, like she was waiting for me to slip. And maybe I should have seen it coming. But back then, I was too busy living the good life to notice the cracks forming underneath it. That night, after another comment from her about men who marry up, I tightened my grip around my whiskey glass and laughed it off. I wish I'd said something. Instead, I stood up, dropped my empty glass in the sink, and walked out to the balcony without looking back. I was halfway through my steak when Olivia hit me with it. "So, Alex," she said, flashing that fake-ass smile to the table, "do you ever miss the days of hourly wages? Or is penthouse life just too comfortable now?" The room got quiet for a second, too quiet. Forks paused midair. A few people gave polite little laughs, but nobody said anything. I looked at her across the table. Burgundy lipstick, dress probably worth more than my monthly mortgage. She tilted her head like she'd just asked about the weather. Stephanie didn't even flinch. "Liv," she said softly, "come on." But Olivia kept going. "I'm just saying, you've done well for someone who didn't come from all this." The steak turned to sand in my mouth. I swallowed hard and leaned back in my chair. "Yeah, I worked for it. Didn't inherit it. Feels better that way." Someone at the far end of the table snorted. I didn't even bother looking to see who. I was too focused on the way Olivia smirked and sipped her wine like she'd won something. After dinner, I stepped outside to breathe. The rooftop was lit with string lights, warm and expensive. It was one of those Manhattan nights that felt like a movie scene, but all I could think about was the way everyone looked at me after she said that. Not surprised, not even uncomfortable, just knowing, like they'd already heard it before. Quick note, before listening further, share which city or country you're watching from. Over the next few weeks, I started picking up on things. People I'd known for years suddenly talked to me like I was breakable, cautious, a little too polite. I'd walk into a room, and someone would lower their voice, glance my way, smile like nothing happened. It got worse at family gatherings. Olivia had a talent for dressing her insults in compliments. "You're really lucky, Stephanie," she'd say. Some women would kill to find a man so adaptable. Or, "You two just balance each other out. You're the brain, he's the charm." Every time I tried to laugh it off, it stuck in my throat. I brought it up once, casually, while we were brushing our teeth. "Is it just me?" I asked, Or is your sister getting a little bolder with the jabs? Stephanie didn't even look up from the mirror. She's always like that. She makes it sound like I'm some charity case. She doesn't mean it like that. That was all I got. It should have ended there, but it didn't. I noticed Stephanie watching me more lately. Subtle things, pauses in conversation, long stares when I checked my phone. She'd ask where I was going, but not in the usual way. There was a weight to it. A suspicion she didn't bother hiding. I pushed it down. Told myself it was stress. Her company had gone through 3 board shakeups in 6 months. She was stretched thin. But then Olivia started getting bolder. We were at her birthday party, some rented lounge in Tribeca with flashing lights, and a DJ no one over 30 should have hired. Olivia cornered me at the bar. "You know, if you're ever not happy," she said, leaning in with her perfume choking me, "there are easier ways out than screwing around." I froze. "Excuse me." She just smiled and walked away, like she hadn't just dropped a grenade in my lap. I told Danny and Jason the next day, over drinks at our usual spot near Madison Square Park. "She's trying to start something," I said, swirling my glass. "She's making Stephanie doubt me." Jason frowned. "Man, that's not just drama. That's sabotage." "Tell your wife," Danny said. "Now, get ahead of it." But I waved it off. Stephanie knows who Olivia is. This isn't anything new. Even as I said it, I knew I was lying. I could feel something shifting underneath us, something I couldn't explain or stop. I drained the rest of my whiskey, dropped a 20 on the table, and left without saying goodbye. 2 days later, Stephanie asked me who Rachel was. Just like that. No lead-in. No context. I was making coffee, and she walked into the kitchen, opened the fridge, and dropped it like a landmine. "Who's Rachel?" I blinked. "Rachel from work." She didn't look at me. "I guess so." I set the mug down slowly. "She's a junior architect. We talked at the Bennett event about a potential project in Long Island. That's it." She finally turned around, arms crossed. "You didn't mention that conversation." "Because it was 10 minutes long and boring as hell. I didn't think it was headline material." Her eyes narrowed, like she was trying to read something on my face. I hated that look, like I was a puzzle she suddenly wasn't sure she could solve. I didn't know it yet, but Olivia had already started the rumor. Apparently, she told Stephanie that I was spending a lot of time with someone younger from the office, that I seemed distracted lately, that she didn't want to stir the pot, but thought Steph should know. The same woman who spent half her days posting selfies at rooftop bars had suddenly become a concerned sister. The problem was, it worked. Stephanie didn't accuse me outright. She just kept asking things that didn't feel like questions anymore. "Are you staying late again? Did you drive or take an Uber? Was anyone else there?" And I answered, every damn time, clearly and calmly. But every answer felt like it made things worse. Then Rachel pulled me aside at work. "Hey, I'm sorry if this is weird," she said, lowering her voice. "But has someone been asking about me?" I froze. "Why?" "Because someone contacted me. I don't know who. It came through an assistant. They wanted to know what we've talked about." I stared at her. "Wait, what?" "Yeah. Like, was it just business? Were there meetings off the record?" It felt off. I didn't say anything for a second, just nodded slowly and told her not to worry about it. But inside, I was boiling. I knew exactly who was behind it. Olivia was turning something innocent into something disgusting, and she was doing it like it was a damn game. At dinner that week, she played her next move. We were at Stephanie's parents' place, this giant limestone house in Westchester with vaulted ceilings and way too much quiet. I'd barely finished my drink before Olivia slid into the chair next to Stephanie and said, loud enough for the whole damn room to hear, "So how's Alex's new protege? What's her name? Rachel?" I looked straight at her. "Excuse me." "Oh, don't get defensive," she said, grinning. "I just heard they've been working closely together. I think it's sweet when older men mentor rising talent." Stephanie didn't laugh. She didn't say anything. And just like that, the poison was in the air. That night, back in the car, Stephanie didn't speak for half the drive. I finally broke the silence. "Are you seriously giving this any weight?" She stared out the window. "I don't know, Alex. Olivia's not stupid. No, she's manipulative. She's been coming after me for weeks." Stephanie turned toward me, voice flat. "Why would she do that?" "Because I'm not one of you. Because I didn't grow up in that country club world, and she can't stand that I have what she doesn't." She looked back out the window. "You sound paranoid." And there it was. That moment, I knew the cracks weren't just under the surface anymore. They were right there, in her voice, in her eyes. I gripped the steering wheel so tight my knuckles went white. She thought I was lying. And worse, she was starting to believe Olivia over me. I pulled into the garage without another word. And when I got out of the car, I slammed the door hard enough to shake the rearview mirror loose. The next morning, Stephanie didn't come downstairs. No text. No good morning. Just silence. I left her coffee on the counter and headed to the office. Halfway through the day, I finally got a message from her. We need to talk. Tonight. That was it. No emoji, no heart, no nothing. Just cold, dead text. I knew what was coming, but I still wasn't ready. She was already sitting at the kitchen island when I walked in that evening. Laptop closed. Phone flipped screen down. She didn't even look up when I dropped my keys on the marble. Sit down. My stomach nodded. I pulled out the chair across from her and waited. She looked at me for a long time, like she was memorizing my face before tearing it apart. Then she asked it. Are you sleeping with Rachel? Just like that. No curveball. Straight down the middle. I felt the heat hit my chest before I even answered. No, absolutely not. Where the hell is this coming from? You're sure? She said. Not emotional. Just cold. Yes, I'm sure. I leaned forward. Steph, come on. Rachel and I have spoken maybe 3 times outside of group meetings. And when we did, it was about the Nelson Project. She crossed her arms. Olivia said. Olivia's lying. She's been twisting things for weeks, and you know it. I don't know anything anymore, Alex. Her voice cracked, just a hair. That's the problem. I pushed back from the table and stood up. You seriously think I'd throw away everything we've built for some intern-level flirtation? She's not an intern. That's your takeaway? I just want the truth, Alex. You've had the truth. You just don't believe it anymore. She didn't respond. Just looked away, lips pressed tight, like holding back whatever she really wanted to say. So I did the dumbest thing I could have done. I tried to prove it. I pulled up my phone. Found the emails with Rachel, short, dry, professional. Meeting requests. Attachment links. Nothing shady. I slid the phone across the counter. Stephanie didn't touch it. You going to look? No. Why not? Because if you're lying, you could have deleted the real ones. That hit harder than I expected. I grabbed the phone back, shoved it in my pocket. You've already decided I'm guilty. What's the point? She stood. I don't know what to believe, Alex. You act like Olivia is making everything up, but I've watched you change. I've been reacting to this mess. That's not change, it's defense. She shook her head, almost like she was tired of hearing my voice. I need space. From me. From all of this. And then she walked upstairs, slow and deliberate, leaving me in that massive kitchen that suddenly felt too damn quiet. After that night, she didn't bring it up again. Not directly. But she was gone in every way that counted. She buried herself in work. Late nights, closed-door conference calls, 2-day trips to Boston or L.A. that I found out about from her assistant. No more shared dinners. No weekend drives. Just silence where we used to be solid. And me? I was stuck in limbo, half defending myself, half hoping she'd snap out of it and see what was happening. I even started documenting every meeting I had. Notes, timestamps, screenshots, thinking if I just laid it all out, she'd realize how insane this was. But the more I tried to prove myself, the guiltier I looked. Danny warned me. You keep playing defense, man. You're gonna look like you're hiding something, even if you're not. I knew he was right. But what the hell else was I supposed to do? I wasn't just losing my wife. I was being erased from her trust day by day. And no matter what I said or showed her, it didn't matter anymore. The damage was already done. One night, I came home to find the bedroom door locked. That was her answer. I stood outside it for a full minute before I turned around, walked downstairs, and slept on the damn couch. The couch was starting to feel like home. I'd stopped asking if we were okay, because I already knew the answer. Then the email started. It was a Tuesday morning. I opened my inbox like I always did, expecting budget updates or site photos. But right there, sandwiched between supplier quotes and scheduling requests, was an internal memo from Keller Future Systems. Stephanie's company. Confidential financials. Stuff I shouldn't even have access to. At first, I thought it was a fluke. Wrong email thread, some CC mistake. But the next day, another one. Different file. This one labeled compensation forecast, executive tier. The hell? I forwarded it to myself, just in case, and deleted the original. I didn't mention it to Stephanie. We weren't exactly swapping bedtime stories anymore. Then came the spreadsheets. I was reviewing quarterly budget numbers for a midtown project, something I'd already signed off on. But now the figures were off. Way off. Like 6 figures off. On paper, it looked like I'd approved a vendor payment that was never cleared by the CFO. I checked my email history. There was a time-stamped approval from me. Except I never sent it. I checked the metadata. It had been edited. Someone forged my response. I didn't panic, not yet. But I felt the heat rise in my chest. My name was on documents that could get me fired. Worse, could get me indicted. And still, I didn't say anything to Stephanie. What was I supposed to do? Hey honey, between not trusting me and locking the bedroom door, can we talk about why your company's private files are showing up in my inbox? Instead, I started digging. I pulled every email, every file, every flagged spreadsheet from the last month. I created a separate drive, locked down with 2-factor authentication. Then I called in a favor from a guy I'd used years ago during a zoning dispute. A private investigator named Travis Cole. Rough around the edges, but sharp as hell. I need you to trace digital footprints, I told him. Inside 2 companies, mine and Keller Future Systems. He paused. Yours and your wife's? Yeah, but don't contact her. Don't contact anyone. This stays off the radar. He didn't ask questions. Just took the retainer and got to work. 2 days later, he called me from a blocked number. You've got bigger problems than a jealous sister. That got my attention. Talk. I found hidden activity in Keller's offshore investment division. Dummy accounts tied to shell corporations, all filtering through an umbrella company out of Miami. All roads lead back to an internal consultant named, guess who? Olivia, I said flatly. Bingo. Looks like she's been funneling money into her own private holdings for months. Maybe years. Using access to executive financials and back-channel authorizations to cover her tracks. I didn't speak. I just stared out the office window, my hands numb. She's using you, Travis continued. Planting fake red flags in your company and leaking her own financials to your inbox to make you look guilty if anything blows up. Why? Because if it all collapses, guess who looks like the leak and the thief? You, the outsider, the husband. It's perfect. Perfect. Yeah, real poetic. I hung up and sat at my desk, trying to breathe through it. Olivia wasn't just trying to ruin my marriage. She was framing me for corporate theft. And Stephanie? She had no idea. She still thought I was the liar. That night, I walked into the kitchen as she was heading out. Steph, I said, blocking the hallway. We need to talk. She didn't stop walking. I'm late. It's important. She brushed past me. Everything with you is important lately, Alex. Everything's urgent. Always another excuse, another story. I can't do this. It's not a story. Olivia, don't, she snapped, spinning back to face me. Stop blaming her. Just stop. She stormed out before I could say another word. I stood there, fists clenched, heart pounding, staring at the front door long after it slammed shut. This wasn't just about a broken marriage anymore. It was war. The next morning, I called Sarah Bennett. We hadn't spoken in over a year. She used to be my go-to when I needed help navigating contracts. Sharp, zero tolerance for bullshit, and happened to be one of the few people I trusted in this city. She picked up on the second ring. Alex Harper, either you're in trouble or someone else is. Little of both. Then come by the office. And bring everything. 2 hours later, I was sitting across from her, laptop open, coffee untouched. She scanned the documents, flipping through spreadsheets, account traces, shell company filings. Her brow furrowed deeper with every click. Who gave you access to this? Private investigator. Clean. No digital footprints. Good, she muttered. Because what you've got here, this is criminal fraud. Wire fraud. Tax evasion. Olivia Keller's running a shadow funnel through offshore holdings and tagging you as the fall guy. I exhaled hard. So I'm not losing my mind. No, she said flatly. You're getting framed by a rich brat who thinks family is a free pass. I showed her the emails, the tampered spreadsheets, the Keller files that had mysteriously landed in my inbox. She's laundering this mess through Stephanie's company under foreign venture investments. But those ventures don't exist. The corporations are registered, but hollow. Zero assets. No business licenses in their claimed regions. And the money? Redirected and laundered through dummy accounts. Looks like payouts to consultants. Guess who the top paid name is? I already knew. Olivia. Sarah nodded. She's got just enough access to do this without being noticed. Unless someone's looking hard. Which, thanks to you, we are. I leaned back in the chair, head spinning. She's not just screwing me over. She's been using me to distract Stephanie while she robs her blind. She's not an amateur, Sarah said. This took planning. She's feeding your wife lies to destroy your credibility. That way, if you do find something, Stephanie won't believe a word you say. It hit me then. Every rumor, every side eye at parties, every casual jab Olivia threw in Stephanie's ear. It wasn't just about breaking us up. It was about control. Stephanie trusted Olivia more than me now. That's what made the whole thing work. I looked at Sarah. How do we flip this? You want legal or dramatic? I want both. But I need her to see it. I need Stephanie to know exactly what Olivia's done. Sarah closed the laptop, leaned forward. Then we give Olivia what she wants, a chance to gloat. Set a trap. Show her just enough to make her think she won. And when she takes the bait, we bury her. I nodded slowly. It was risky. If it didn't work, Olivia could spin it again. I could lose everything. But if it did, it would blow the whole damn thing open. I stood up, grabbed the files, and slid them back into my bag. Let's do it. I scheduled the meeting through Stephanie's assistant. Neutral ground. Conference room at her company's Manhattan office. Glass walls, long table, city skyline burning through the windows behind her. She walked in wearing black, tailored, crisp, guarded as hell. Olivia strolled in 2 minutes later, smiling like she was about to accept an award. I was already seated. Sarah stood beside me, briefcase in hand. Alex, Stephanie said, nodding once. This better not be a waste of time. Olivia leaned on the back of one of the chairs, fake concerned. Is this about Rachel again? Sweetie, we've been over. No, I cut in. This isn't about Rachel. This is about you. Olivia blinked. Excuse me? Sarah snapped open the briefcase and laid out a neat stack of files, one by one, labeled emails, wire records, shell company documents, timestamps, even a recorded conversation between Rachel and the assistant who'd been told to spy on me. Stephanie's eyes narrowed. What is this? Sarah answered, firm and calm. Financial evidence. Traced embezzlement through shell accounts tied to Keller Future Systems. All managed under aliases, but we followed the trail, fake investments, consulting fees, tax shelters. All roads lead to Olivia Keller. Stephanie looked at me. What are you talking about? I pushed the spreadsheet forward. This is why you've been getting those flagged compliance reports. This is where your budget's bleeding. It's not coming from me, Steph. It's coming from her. Olivia let out a soft laugh. That's insane. Are you seriously blaming me for your mistakes now? I didn't look at her. I just kept my eyes on Stephanie. I've been getting emails I shouldn't have access to. Files planted in my inbox. Spreadsheets manipulated to look like I authorized payments that never happened. While you were pulling away from me, thinking I was cheating, Olivia was laundering hundreds of thousands out of your company. Lies, Olivia snapped. He's desperate. This is what liars do, they spin. Sarah pulled out the signed rental contract for one of the Miami Shell offices. You signed this under the alias L. Kellermeyer. This company has no employees, no services, no listed clients. But it's received 6 figures in investment funds from KFS in the last 9 months. Stephanie took the paper, stared at it. No, Olivia said again louder. That's not real. You probably paid someone to forge that. Sarah opened her laptop, spun it around, and played a recording. A man's voice, Olivia's assistant, talking to Rachel. Olivia asked me to keep an eye on your conversations with Alex Harper. She wanted any texts, emails, or anything that seemed intimate. The room dropped to silence. Olivia's face froze. No more smiling. Just still, tight, cornered. Stephanie looked at her. You told me she was being inappropriate. Olivia's mouth opened. Nothing came out. I stepped in. She told you I was cheating, and you believed her. But none of it was real. Rachel and I never had anything but a professional conversation. Olivia turned it into something ugly to distract you while she bled your company dry. Stephanie still didn't look at me. Her eyes were locked on her sister. You said Alex was lying. You swore to me. I thought he was. I mean, he's always out late, and you've been so stressed, and You forged documents, Stephanie said quietly. No, I didn't. This is twisted, Steph. This is him, trying to make me look bad so I'll what? Stephanie's voice cracked. So I'll stop trusting you? You're my sister. Exactly, Olivia said, reaching for her arm. And that's why I've protected you. From him. Stephanie stepped back. You didn't protect me. You used me. Silence. Sarah quietly closed the laptop and stepped back. I trusted you, Stephanie whispered. I believed everything you said. Olivia was still frozen. Face pale. Her whole smug vibe had cracked wide open. I didn't say anything else. I didn't have to. Stephanie turned to me, and for the first time in weeks, her eyes looked clear, like someone had pulled a curtain off her face. I don't even know what to say, she murmured. You don't have to, I said. You just needed to see it. She looked at the stack of papers again, then slowly sat down in the chair across from me. Her hands were shaking. Olivia moved toward the door, but Sarah stepped in her path. Don't, Sarah said. You're going to want counsel before you leave this building. Olivia's face twisted. You jerk. Sarah smiled, calm as ever. See you in court. Olivia didn't go quietly. Within 24 hours, she was blowing up group chats, spinning her story. I was a manipulator. Stephanie was confused. Sarah was a bulldog lawyer with a grudge. She even tried to say the audio clip had been edited. Problem was, no one was buying it. Not this time. Stephanie's legal team dug through every corner of the company's books and found the same trail Travis and Sarah had uncovered. Offshore accounts, shell contracts, and forged invoices. It was textbook fraud, just hidden behind family access and a long history of trust. The board was notified. Then the authorities. Stephanie didn't say much in those first few days. She barely slept, barely spoke. I'd find her sitting alone in the den, eyes red but dry, staring at nothing. I knew better than to push. She'd been gutted from the inside. Her sister, the one person she never doubted, had used her like a bank account and a pawn. One night, I found her sitting on the floor with a glass of whiskey, hair a mess, papers all around her. She used my name to sign off on it, she said without looking up. She didn't even ask. She just used me. I know. She looked up, eyes glassy. I kept defending her. Every time you warned me, I defended her. I wasn't trying to be right, I said. I just didn't want to lose you to a lie. She didn't answer, just looked away and took another sip. I wanted to fix it, but some things don't get fixed overnight. Trust doesn't just snap back into place. I stayed quiet, sat down beside her, and didn't say another word. The next morning, Olivia was officially cut off. Stephanie issued a full report to the board and filed a formal complaint with the state. Lawyers were on it. Investigators were assigned. Olivia lawyered up instantly, still pushing the narrative that she'd been pressured into everything by unnamed executives. It didn't matter. The documents didn't lie. As for me, my name was finally cleared. My company reviewed the forged spreadsheets and issued a formal apology. Reputation intact. But I didn't feel clean. Because even though I'd been vindicated, I still had to look at my wife and see the doubt that had lived in her for months. I still had to deal with the bruises she didn't mean to leave. Stephanie didn't say she was sorry. Not out loud. But she started coming home earlier. She made coffee one morning and actually smiled. Small things. Quiet things. I held on to those. One night, she finally spoke. I don't know who I am without Olivia. You're not her, I said. You never were. I built everything trying to prove I could be more than just the Keller daughter. And the whole time, she was cashing in behind my back. She was jealous, I said. You earned it. She inherited it. She looked at me. And you? Are we still in this? I didn't flinch. I'm not going anywhere. She nodded once. No kiss, no big dramatic hug. Just a long look like she was seeing me for the first time again. I knew we weren't fixed. But I also knew we weren't done. And that was enough for now. 3 months later, Stephanie called and asked to meet at her office. I took the elevator up, straight to the top floor. Her assistant didn't stop me, just nodded, like she knew I was supposed to be there. Stephanie stood when I walked in. She looked better, less weight on her shoulders, sharper around the eyes. The storm had passed, but the damage still showed in the way she folded her hands, like she wasn't sure what to say first. Thanks for coming, she said. Didn't think I had a choice. She nodded at that. Fair. I didn't sit. Not yet. She glanced toward the window, then back at me. I've been going to therapy. Not just for Olivia. For everything. I raised an eyebrow. You think it'll fix what she broke? No, she said. But it's helping me see what I let her do. And what I did to you. That sat heavy between us. She didn't rush to fill the silence, and I didn't offer a shortcut out of it. I believed someone because it was easier than asking myself why I didn't trust you, she said. That's on me. I finally pulled out the chair, sat down across from her. I don't need you to grovel, Steph. I just need honesty. You have it now, she said. And I don't want this to be some fake reconciliation. I want us to move forward, but only if we're doing it as equals. That hit different this time, because I wasn't clinging anymore. I had rebuilt my footing, took on new projects at work, moved my name into actual ownership on one of the firm's biggest contracts. I wasn't standing in anyone's shadow anymore. Not hers. Not Olivia's. I won't be the guy who begs for space at your table, I said. If we move forward, it's because we both want to build something better. I do, she said. But I know it'll take time. I've got time, I said. But not forever. We sat there, eyes locked, both of us knowing we weren't the same people who started this mess. That's what made it real. No promises. No perfect bow. Just truth. I stood up first. She didn't ask me to stay. I didn't expect her to. I walked out of that office without looking back, stepped onto the street, and took the deepest breath I'd had in months. For once, I wasn't chasing anything. Not approval. Not forgiveness. I was just done letting other people write my story.